Okay, day 191 here in Waterloo, Iowa, heading to Des Moines to see Johnny Gulch's mom, Noreen Gulch. Let's keep going to Wayne Madsen reports. And then I have another Awan to introduce today. I'll try to summarize what I said yesterday on the road. As we've talked about in the past, the University of Denver just has a lot of, is kind of this, seems like the seed ground for all of this with Madeleine Albright doing the organ harvesting in Kosovo and Bosnia. I interviewed a Bosnian woman last night who was Muslim. Interesting, she hasn't prayed since she's been a little girl when she left when she was 9 years old. But I remember going there at that time covering that story, or not really as a reporter, but I remember a lot of the Muslim refugees. I remember a lot of the Serbians in Czech Republic were being very, nasty to the Muslims. So I just want to say I've been on both sides of this conflict. I've seen refugees on both sides, and I know it's horrible. War is horrible. What I am objecting to is creating war and creating division for personal profit. One of the users mentioned that Susan Rice also lived with Madeleine Albright for a long period of time, was kind of groomed from a very young age. And this is kind of the, I don't want to say a female Hamilton, but a lot of the CIA guys, when they go overseas, they end up getting involved and bringing the kids back when they're young. So don't know if Susan Rice is one of the CIA kids, not I've talked about in the past, but I do know about the gang rapes by police forces. I do know about the Boston bomber. I do know about these teams of three. Tsarnaev's was a team of three, a kill team of three, and they killed their predecessors in the Boston area. And I think this is just going to come out, these teams of three. I talked to the team of three in Fort Wayne. You're going to see that Mahmoud was the team of three in Virginia. And MS-13 is just the new Chechens, as far as, we always have a foreign kids or poor kids, war kids do these murders. So back to Hawkshead, this, I don't really have to prove modus operandi here with the pile of BlackBerries at the Marine's house here with the laptops. I mean, the MO was already proven with Anthony Weiner's laptop and Huma syncing. We already know that they had one laptop that had BlackBerry Enterprise server on it. And so there's four more in the pile. Why wouldn't there be a BlackBerry server on all of those? Consider the fact that one BlackBerry a month ago in Virginia, it would be an anomaly. A pile of BlackBerries would be a very big anomaly. If you look at the people that use the BlackBerry in the State Department, with each successive person, Valerie Jarrett, Cheryl Mills, Philippe Reines, Huma Abedin, all these kind of temporary employees that got brought in USAID, Victoria Newland, all these people, it's going to be the 19 co-conspirators. It's going to be the 19 co-conspirators that were named in the FBI investigation that were suppressed by McCain. And all we have to really do is just Google BlackBerry and the 19 people that from my one page and just see if they use the BlackBerry. I think just by process of elimination can figure out who the 19 BlackBerry users are. I'm not saying there's going to be 19 of them, but there is going to be a pile of them, and this is going to unlock the whole thing. The more I think about this and how this automatic syncing works and how that gets you off the hook for leaking classified information, you can always say, oops, they hacked me again. The more I believe that this is actually the laptops and BlackBerries here at the Hawkshead home were the actual State Department materials. The only way that McCabe could legally say that they were not in his possession is have a foreign intelligence service in possession of those. Then it's a liaison operation. Then I don't, have to report it. So again, we're going to go here to more inhabitants of the Springfield home. I am not saying this woman, Tahira Ali Awan. I'm not saying this person, Tahira Ali Awan, is the person that was living at this home. But there was two of them, one about 40 years old, which she's about 40, and then one about 20 years older, using Tahira S. Awan. So I don't know if this is that person, but I do want to expose a Tahira Ali Awan that was using a false credit card, a false social security number that was at this address. So amongst all the other things we've got going on, we've got kidnapping, we've got death threats, we've got cell phone hacking, we've got imprisonment, we've got stolen inheritances, we've got Tokir here, Winfield, with the 17 tickets. We haven't geolocated those, no license, no registration. We've got a lot of stuff going on at this home, as well as maybe when I went to the home, maybe Jamal, that was Jamal's picture, who was living there. So here's Tahira's Facebook page. Now, this is a gal who's living in New Jersey, Edison, New Jersey. I think she works for a plastic surgeon in New Jersey, near Jersey City. So this might not be Tahira Awan associated with the other Awans at all. But she did have an interesting post about Turkey being crushed in blood here, which, there is that rat line between Turkey and Pakistan. So I just thought that was an interesting post. Also, no friends. I thought that was interesting. And only one hit for Tahira Ali Awan amongst all of Facebook, which also struck me as odd. The no friends thing really threw me for a loop. And I saw she'd been in Washington, D.C. at the National Air and Space Museum, and that's one of the only places she ever checked in. So I just, again, now the thing I published this morning on Twitter, Truth Leaks, was she was born in 1977. Again, I don't know if it's this woman, but Tahira Ali Awan was born in 1977. The Social Security number was issued in 1968. I also have another woman named Ruth Fielder, who's about 20 years older than her, 24 years older than her, with the same Social Security number. So I published all the properties. Again, there's like 10 properties. One's in Wisconsin, one's in Massachusetts, one is in Virginia. There's another one in another state I can't remember. But one of the modus operandi here is you need to get a residence in a place if you are going to open up a remote office, like a pain clinic or something like that. And that's what's troubling here, is once you start getting into the Social Security fraud, people don't know who you are when you start getting into business dealings. So again, I feel the need, without the help of Andrew McCabe, I feel the need to publish the Social Security numbers, which I did. And they're out there on the web, and you can see all the properties and addresses associated. Now, that's also going to bring up Turkey, as you saw on the previous slide. Turkey, the partner, every one of these transactions has a partner. So this is the bag man. This is Zarab. He's the bag man for this Pakistan to Turkey rat line for Gulen. Well, you're going to always have another person on the money laundering front. So he's getting the gold, and then he's trading it with the bank, and the bank is giving him money. So the banker is a guy named Attila. What would the story be without an Attila? Okay, so Attila was arraigned in federal district court in New York, I believe, or Washington, D.C. I can't remember which court. Attila was arraigned a couple of days ago. And you would think, oh, well, that means Jeff Sessions is moving forward. Well, it's only because the Malaysian banker was caught and brought back to, so once the money gets moved to Zarab, then Zarab's moving it to Malaysia. The Malaysian banker was caught through Russia and brought back to Iran for justice. So I'm not going to talk about his name yet and so forth, but it trips the United States having to pull this other guy in on charges. This guy's been sitting around for almost a year in jail in Virginia. So it'll be interesting to see if Sessions moves forward with this, because they are going to move forward with the Malaysian banker who's in this chain. So, and it's always a chain. So again, I mentioned all the oddities at that Springfield home. This is Sampson, Tokir, Winfield. I'm going to just go ahead and say the middle two numbers are 96 there, so it's 27796 5127. Again, it's national. At this point, it's national security time. I mean, we don't really have much time to wait. We've heard a lot of plots that are in the offing, and if it is Social Security fraud and veterans are being targeted, or older people are being targeted, hospice care, assisted care, Spectrum Health System, if it is nursing homes, it's really not something that can wait. Somebody's going to be the victim of that. Even though it's only 22 veterans a day committing suicide, there's a lot more people that may be having life disruption that are falling into depression and so forth. And so that's the bad part here. Again, here is another name associated with the Springfield home, Ramesh C. Jain. There he is. And it's Ramesh C. Jain. A guy in his 60s that's putting "We Are Jats." This is the extremist group. It's really more of a tribe, but then all this extremist rhetoric is put on top of it. We don't break hearts, we only break bones, proud to be a Jat, obvious threatening and so forth. Now, you're going to see a lot of the Awans are going to be Jats. Now, the other piece that I talked about yesterday was there was this father who was bailed out by this son who had high White House connections, okay? So one of the things that's come out in the lawsuit that the stepmother brought, this stepmother who said she was imprisoned, is on the April 13th Daily Caller article, there's a complaint filed that said Imran had a police VIP escort when he goes back to Pakistan. Well, that would help if his uncle for his father was actually running the police force, the federal police force, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would make sense. So somebody had a VIP escort when they came out to this bowl Huggy. Just think of a bowl of Huggies, 12 Huggies, not used Huggies hopefully, but 12 Huggies in a bowl. And this is Faisalabad. So this is the main capital of Punjab is here in Lahore. It's going to be over, I think, somewhere in here in the middle somewhere. And then the bowl of Huggies is going to be right over here. The reason why I mentioned the bowl of Huggies is here comes Iran up the road at the bowl of Huggies, and he's got this 6 cars with all the flags and all the Secret Service or whatever, and he's coming in and he's meeting with this partner with this guy named Ashraf Awan, okay, and Ashraf is then talks these 12 farmers into going in with his partner, his business partner, and they're going to do a USAID project. And the USAID project is going to be for growing rice, or it's going to be for growing poppies, or it's going to be for growing something. All these farmers go in on the deal, throw all their lot in together, and then all of a sudden, the partner of Ashraf Awan is killed in a car accident. So guess what? Ashraf goes over to the widow and says, "Hey, I loaned your husband $1 million right before he was killed. Why don't you just give me all of your assets?" Where have we heard this before? Forcing the widow to give all the assets over to the partner. And she put a lot of her husband's assets in with her sons. Of course, they went over and threatened the sons. And all these 12 farmers sued Ashraf, and guess what? The person from the Washington, D.C., this guy with all these White House connections, we've seen the picture with Imran and Bill Clinton, came in, and there was this long, procession of VIP and so forth. And of the $55 million in lawsuits, they were all cleared. And you can look at Dawn, which is the New York Times of Pakistan, and you can just Google Ashraf Awan, and you can see what I'm talking about. And this person who came up the lane here in the VIP with all the flags and everything, the big VIP escort, was named Imran. So the first name was different, but the last name was Imran. So maybe that was Imran, maybe it wasn't. Who knows? Again, this is Mahmood, Arshad Mahmood. I don't know if that was Arshad back in Pakistan. I did find an Arshad Mahmood now back there. But this is Manassas Mahmood. Manassas Mahmood is the one who hired all the MS-13 kids near his house here in Woodbridge that went down and killed this car dealer, this Muslim car dealer that was very prominent in the mosque in Virginia. The reason why he's important is he's the registered agent of Awan Brothers, Inc. I'm not the registered agent of Awan Brothers, Inc. Ashraf Mahmood is. Well, I felt it necessary. Again, if I could get some help from the FBI here with Andrew McCabe, that would be nice. But since he is the registered agent of this company with the Awan Brothers, I felt it necessary to publish his social security number with all of his companies. Now, he is wanted for murder right now. So this, if you want to get this to the Chesterfield police, I think that Chesterfield is a suburb of Richmond, Virginia. I believe, now, why would he have 12 houses? Why would he have 12 houses? I published all the addresses. Why would he have 12 houses? Again, I say that these are safe houses for MS-13, Guatemalan gang. It's actually the El Salvadoran refugees. and they're bringing those in. They started in 1984 with Iran-Contra in Los Angeles. They've spread all the way to the Northeast. I believe these are safe houses. I believe also I've got other names in Brooklyn that tie that to the Fort Wayne home. I believe the Fort Wayne home was owned by somebody in Brooklyn. That safe house, the actual arrangements were made in Brooklyn. But I'm not ready to present that just yet. So my final thing is, if I could get a little help from Mr. McCabe, that would be great. All we have to do, for starters, you can let everybody at the FBI do whatever they're doing, harassing journalists or whatever they need to do. But just go ahead and publish the metadata for Hillary and Humus servers, and I'll do the rest. Give me the 19 Gmail accounts and give me the names associated with those accounts at the State Department that were illegally using Gmail accounts. I'll do the rest because I'll associate those with the BlackBerries and the SSIDs in the BlackBerries. If you really want to help, publish the SSIDs for the BlackBerries, and that will help, and publish the provider, probably being Verizon, and then we can do the rest from there. So you don't have to do much, Mr. McCabe. All you have to do is just publish the metadata, and we'll go from there. And you can keep going and doing whatever you do. And that's it for this morning. I'm going to go interview Noreen Golsch now in Des Moines.